Peter Morosky, the nurse, and today I want to take you on a couple of on some takes on how realistically the Avengers would have handled the zombie situation in the original whatever zombie season 1 episode 5, right? Because we can all agree that realistically the Avengers would not do what they did in that episode, just land in the middle of the bridge on the Quinjet, right, and leave them totally exposed and then get themselves surrounded. They would never do that realistically. That was just a move the plot convenienced, right? So we can all agree on that, can't we? Okay, so here's some scenarios on how realistically this would have actually gone down. First of all, no landing in the middle of a zombie horde. You can have Steve, Natasha, Clint, and Black Widow stay on the Quinjet and use their guns to blast the zombie horde, and if some get past the fire, have Iron Man and War Machine at the end of the bridge up in the air, and just blast them with their missiles using their AI system and everything else to take out the stragglers, which I don't know where War Machine is in this universe, to be honest. We don't see him at all. He's not mentioned. We don't know. Maybe he gets introduced in Marvel Zombies Season 2. Who knows? And they capture one and study until they find out that the Mind Stone, they can be killed by the Mind Stone, because as you know, the Mind Stone obviously infects the mind, and the zombie virus affects the brain first. So realistically, they would take one of the stragglers that they've taken down, stay until they figure that out. And the second scenario, just envision Down take out the zombies, since he's literally zombie proof. Like even he says in the episode, he's not on the menu because he's an android. They can't affect him. And have him and he can just take out the entire zombie horde. He takes that freaking laser beam from the Mind Stone he's got and just whoosh like this, takes them out, just phases through them, bam, done. And have him capture one and have him catch a dead zombie or whatever, and then take him to Tony's lab where they can study him, and they can notice that the zombie is reacting to Vision when Vision's Mind Stone, right? And then eventually they would have figured that out, and then they would have been able to take Tony's technology or Black Panther's technology from Wakanda and spread the thing worldwide. Problem solved, right? There, that's that problem solved. Right, problem solved. Yeah, obviously, they use the resources from all that, and problem solved. And then they would have to face Thanos in both takes after the cure, obviously, because as we saw, that Thanos does still come down in the original timeline, because this Marvel zombie episode, it takes place after the events of Civil War and just before the events of Infinity War, right? So realistically, once the zombies taken care of, they will have to fight Thanos again like they did in the original one, and it wouldn't be Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Ant-Man versus a zombie Thanos like we saw in season 1 of Marvel Zombies, right? Besides, and I just want to get on the whole thing in the original episode with Iron Man, because it should have been impossible for Iron Man to get infected on the bridge. Not just because he can fly and has advanced weapons and an AI system, because even if zombies somehow tackled him, which is not realistic, by the way, in the zombie you see him do this and just somehow get tackled very easily, which is stupid, by the way. Now, realistically, that would not happen. But if he somehow does get tackled by them, the zombies can't get through his armor. These zombies have normal human strength, and Tony was wearing the Mark 50 armor that took hits from Thanos and the Power Stone. So that makes no sense. So they would never get through this. If they bite it, their teeth would just fucking fall out. And an Avengers show where it's not the same. It's not the same thing, but in one Avengers show, I can't remember the name of it, these vampires tried to bite Tony, tried to infect him with the vampire virus. They bit his armor, and the teeth just broke. That's realistic what would have happened in this scenario. The zombies take a bite out of him, the teeth would break, and Tony would be completely fine. And if you're going to say, oh, they have Hank Pym somehow shrunk down in that would not happen because in Civil War, that's a different set of armor. Tony upgraded his armor after Scott Lang shrunk down and got into his armor. Tony fixed that, so realistically, Hank Pym would not have been able to do that, right? And that's realistic how that would go down. And another scenario is that Iron Man would give everyone some armor so they can have some protection so they wouldn't get infected, right? And they can have all their AI systems, everything. They can have all of them can be in their own specific armors, right? And they can just take out the whole zombie horde together and take it from down. Which by the way, I don't know what they were doing on the bridge in the first place in the original episode, because the freaking narrative, the guy who's watching over all this, he says the entire Northwest has been infected, so I don't know what them landing on a bridge was going to do. Like, they didn't even have any of their most powerful members. Like, they just had normal people. Which, by the way, that makes no sense. Because in the episode, it says, the narrator was saying, once Earth's mightiest heroes joined the infected, no one stood no chance. But the people who got the Avengers on that bridge, they were just normal people. Like, that doesn't make any sense. They weren't Hulk, they weren't Thor, they weren't Spider-Man, they weren't any of these big powerhouses. If it was them, that would make sense. But these guys are just normal people, so that doesn't really make any sense. Another thing I'd like to point out is it's revealed later in the episode, Vision grabbed Black Panther, right? And then somehow cured Scott Lang with the Mind Stone, right? If he did that, why didn't he just grab Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Tony and cured them? Like, what the... Yeah, see, there's a lot of plot convenience in this. Like, realistically, Vision would have cured them as well. And then him and Tony would have been able to put together and cure Wanda, since Wanda is powered by the Mind Stone herself. They would have... Him and Tony, Vision, Bruce, and Peter, Spider-Man, they would have put their brains together and figured out a way to cure Wanda. And then the events of Marvel Zombies wouldn't have happened. The whole thing never would happen. Problem solved. And to be honest, I don't know how Thanos got infected, because his skin is as tough as Hulk. And as we saw when Wanda tried to bite Bruce, his arm partially transformed, and she couldn't get through it, and he just tossed her off. So I don't know how Thanos got infected, because we know that Thanos is as tough as Hulk in his base form, right? I mean, this takes place just after he beats the crap out of the Hulk, right? So that doesn't make any sense. And not only that, Thanos had the Infinity Stone, so realistically, he would never have been infected. Like, it's impossible. The only way for him to be infected is somehow Hulk got infected, and Hulk bit him, or something like Thor. And they got infected and they bit him, but Hulk never got infected, and Thor didn't get infected like 5 years later, which I made another video on that. Like, so that doesn't make any sense to me. And he could have just used the Power Stone to wipe all the zombies out, and that was it. So what happened to Captain America, Hawkeye, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Black Panther, and Thanos makes no sense whatsoever. And I know people have hyped on this a lot, but I just wanted to make a video on it, because I just want to give you a couple of realistic takes on how this would actually go down, because I've seen so many people rant about this. They don't go into full detail on how the Avengers would have actually handled the situation, right? And so I'm going to be honest, if the actual MCU version of these characters saw what these versions did, they were just like, what the hell? These guys, I don't want to say the word, no, I'm not going to say the word because I might get demonetized, but a word that rhymes with regarded. If you know, you know. Because that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And yeah, I don't know. And still, I don't know how Iron Man got infected in that episode, because, like I said, it's physically impossible for the zombies to do that. But yeah, and all that. So, and I also don't know how Doctor Strange got infected either. But none of it makes any sense to me. But look, I enjoy the episode. It's a lot of fun, and I love the version where the moment with Hulk in it. But when Hulk just beats the crap out of Wanda, that's fun, and where he just bursts out. Where Bruce says, wouldn't it be nice to be a nice guy for a change? And he just bursts like this and just fucking smashes all the zombies. That was fun. That was great. But realistically, what happened in this episode and the Marvel Zombies that followed afterwards, that would never happen. Like, and also, I don't know how Captain Marvel, speaking of that, I don't know how Captain Marvel got infected either, because, like I said, Hulk never got infected, and Thor didn't get infected like 5 years later, and that's only because he was in a weakened state. But still don't know how Wanda got infected either. Like, that doesn't make any sense, to be honest. I know I'm just going on at this point. I've gotten off track, but I just want to point this stuff out. Like, I think a lot of Marvel fans like myself can agree that none of this makes any sense. Like, I enjoy the show. I can't wait for season 2 where we see Bucky become the new Captain America, which I'm excited for that, but it just makes no sense to me. Like, how these people got infected makes no sense to me whatsoever. But, and I'm happy Spider-Man not got infected like he did in the comics, because, yeah. And yeah, and also I'm going to wrap this up now, because I'm just rage baiting it. I'm just going on at this point, but I'm going to make another video on my theories for Marvel Zombies Season 2 and what some of the characters might do, and how I like to see what kind of my new Marvel Avengers team I would like to see in this episode. So watch out for that. Until then, this has been Peter Morosky, the Nerdster. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great day.